Hi ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Green and this is another in my series of pre-cal recordings to help you with some of the work that you're running into. Okay, so what are we looking at here? We are looking at Unit 3 and we just finished the section on inverse trigs, and so we're now going to go into solving some trig functions. And remember, it's not as easy as it sounds. You can't just take the inverse trig and get the ultimate answer, but we will make it work for us. Okay, so given something like this, 2 sine x minus 1 equals 0. What I like to start with is by looking at the algebra. If I add 1 to both sides of this equation, I get 2 sine x equals 1. If I divide by 2, I get sine x equals 1 half. Now that I've got sine x is equal to 1 half, I can go look at the unit circle. Let's look at the unit circle. Where is it sine equal to 1 half? Well, it's the y values here. There's 1 there, so it's at pi over 6. And it's also over here 1 half. It's at 5 pi over 6. So I've actually got two answers there, right? Pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6. Those would be the two answers that you would have for answering that one. Now, the problem I pulled this from was saying, well, here's a problem and here's a solution. Is this a valid solution and why? And the answer is yes, this is a valid solution. It's one within the limited domain that you could get off of a calculator. Cool. Thanks. Okay? So, let's look at this one. 2 cosine squared x minus cosine x minus 1 equals 0. Well, you know what? If this had been 2a minus a or minus 1, I would have factored it into 2a plus 1 minus at times a minus 1. And then why don't I just do that? If I do that, I can then put the cosine back in where the a belongs, and I wind up with 2 cosine x plus 1 times cosine x minus 1. Then using the 0 property, and because factors, if both of them are equal to 0, or if it's equal to 0, one or the other is equal to 0. So 2 times cosine plus 1 equals 0, or cosine equals negative 1 half, or cosine minus 1 equals 0, or cosine equals 1. Okay, let's go look at the unit circle again. Okay, so at negative 1 half, there's the cosine equal to negative 1 half. Here's the cosine equal to negative 1 half. So we're at 2 pi over 3 and at 4 pi over 3. And then when is the cosine equal to negative 1? Well, it's only equal to negative 1 right down here, and that's at 3 pi over 2. So I've got three answers for this one. Okay? So I've got 2 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3, and 3 pi over 2. Their answer that they gave was 2 pi over 3. That is this one here. And so, yes, this is also a valid answer. Okay? So you can see what I'm doing there is I'm just treating these as if they were algebra problems, taking the trig out of it so that I can solve it like an algebra problem and then putting the trig back in it. It really will help you solve these problems, and it makes a little bit more sense to you when you do it that way. Okay? Now there is one more trick, and that trick is to use some identities. They're in the chapter, and I'm going to let you read those and dig those out. We'll talk about them in the class Connect when we get to it. But these identities can be substituted. So when you see certain things, you can substitute in for them. For example, if you see sine x divided by cosine x, leave it alone. Substitute it in as a tangent function. Okay, we know that's what tangent is, but once you do that, then it becomes a little bit easier. The whole thing that you wind up with is it's all going to come back to that unit circle. And if you can get it into that unit circle, you can find those answers easily. Now, I will tell you that the book says you got to solve both things. You've got to go back and take the inverse function of this and get the value. They're limiting their range. Use the unit circle. You will find all the values. Much easier to do, much better. Okay? So I will talk to you later. Oh, wait a second. Unit circle. Wanted to make certain there was a copy of it. You can print this screen, save this screen, whatever you want to. Make certain you get a really good copy of that unit circle. Okay? So I do appreciate you keeping me informed when you ask questions that you're in pre-cal. It really helps, and it will get your questions answered quickly. Look forward to seeing you both in tutoring and in Class Connect. Talk to you later. Bye.